Hi everyone, welcome back to Chats with Dylan Nav. Today we got 6 tips for those considering a non-clinical career path. And if you're new here, I'm Dr. Dylan Cahill, recent graduate of Harvard Medical School, and I've chosen a non-clinical career path for myself, and we create a lot of videos around this topic and others.
And I'm Dr. Naveed Ghaffari, classmate of Dylan's at Harvard, and also on a non-traditional clinical path.
2 words, entrepreneurship.
So without further ado, let's jump into our 6 tips for how to approach what it means to go down a non-traditional path. Tip number 1, reflection. It's important that you're really clear about what your interests are and what your values are and how that aligns to what your role is. And so even as someone could be deciding between what path of medicine to go down, really trying to think about what is it that interests you, that gives you joy, and also what can drain you. And this was a duality that I found really helpful to pay attention to my experiences, was this one aspect of nourish and drain. And so from the nourish category, like when you're doing something, even if it's a lot of work, like you come leaving that day, that shift, feeling jazzed, hyped, or even within the day, noticing the points where you're feeling like good about yourself and what you've done, versus the drain where after it's a certain day, after a conversation, after some sort of task, if you just feel like you've really been like suck, just paying attention to those and realizing that no job is going to be perfect. But if you're having a lot of these, then that might be a sign that in the long run, this might not be fulfilling. So really reflecting on those interests and seeing how that maps onto different roles. Pass it on to Dylan.
Tip number 2, you gotta rule medicine in or out. Is it something about your current position that's limiting you, limiting your happiness and fulfillment that could easily be switched if you were to just make a small pivot to, for example, a different specialty or work on a different team, different department? Or is it really medicine in general that's just bringing you down? If you're in the preclinical period at medical school, wait until you get to that clinical period. If you're on a rotation that you don't like, maybe consider waiting until you have another that you are more interested in. And if you're in a residency path that you feel stuck in, that's not everything you wanted it to be, are there at least other residencies that you would consider switching to where you could see yourself feeling happy and fulfilled? Because that change is going to be a lot easier than switching to an entirely other career path. So you got to start there. Is medicine in or out? And then go from there.
Tip number 3, explore. Now that you've decided that the medical path is not for you, you've got to decide, okay, like what next? And for some people, this might be more clear if they've taken some gap years or have some other background interests where they know. But for those of you who might not be, which included myself, it was really a big phase of exploration of just learning what's out there from different industries like consulting to venture capital, startups, pharma. And then within those industries, what are the roles? Like what are the names of the titles? What are the job descriptions? There's a lot of lingo that goes into this that can be very industry specific. So just trying to learn these definitions, learn the realities will help inform what it does. And then you can map on these reflections of your interests and values and try to like map that onto what these roles could look like.
Tip number 4, build your network. Unlike a lot of medicine, which is a very structured path, if you're considering a career outside of medicine, your network is going to be hugely important. Start with the people who care about you, your friends and family. Tell them how you're feeling and get their perspective. Reach out to trusted mentors, physicians, and others who you know have your best interests in mind, and go into those meetings with intention. See if they could recommend someone to you who might help you in this decision-making process. In my own case, I did exactly that, and it was hugely beneficial. I reached out to a physician mentor of mine, and he connected me with 2 non-clinical doctors. I enjoyed great conversations with both of them, and I'm now even working with one of those. And so start with your network, start working on it now, reach out and see where it goes.
Tip number 5, high five, action. So now that you've done this exploring, talk to your network, it's really about, okay, what can you do? And it's a lot easier said than done. A lot of folks in medicine, we're really analytical and we can get stuck in this analysis paralysis. And especially as someone who's suffered greatly from that, having people in your life and just building up the courage to be like, I'm just going to go for this and do it. And that's how I'm going to get experience is really one of the biggest tips that I can give.
Tip number 6, the last one is commit. At the end of the day, the only opinion that matters is yours because you're the one who has to live with this decision. So once you commit to a non-clinical career path, whatever industry it's in, whatever job it is, give it your all. Truly believe that if this is what you're meant to do, that you should give it your full self and not look back. Don't worry about what anyone says. It doesn't matter what other critics have to say. What matters is that you're feeling like you're living your best life, feeling fulfilled in what you're doing and passionate about it. So go for it, feel confident, and hopefully these tips gave you some confidence in making that decision.
So those are our 6 tips. We got reflect. We got figuring out whether medicine is for you. We got exploring, building your network, taking action, and committing. Hope those 6 steps were helpful, and let us know where you're at, and stay tuned for some more videos dropping soon. Thanks.